Hey everyone, Tech Steve here, and this is the LG UQ75. Now, we'll tell you it's the entry level to get a 4K television for LG for 2022, but since it's on the budget side, how good does it really perform? So in this video, we're going to find out. Now, we'll tell you that this is the 43-inch version, but they do make it in a massive 86-inch model. And if you guys are looking for large televisions, go check out my buddy, Be the Installer, because he has TVs on his channel up to 98 inches. So I'll leave a link in the description below. With that being said, sit back and relax and let me tell you all about it. So let's talk about the screen. This is a 4K television with direct backlights. It has the AI 5th generation processor from LG, and this new processor is supposed to give you better upscaling from 1080p content plus better audio. So we'll put that through the test by looking at a couple samples later on in the video. So looking at this TV from the side, you can see it's a little bit thicker, and it's because this particular model uses direct backlight. Now, to make it really thin, you have to use edge lights, but when I get to the test, we'll see if you're going to notice any bleeding or if the screen's going to have any kind of gray in it. Now, another thing I will tell you that this TV does not have local dimming, so I'm very curious how good the black level is going to be in this television. All right, so let's look at the edge of this television. You see it's got this gray look to it, and then there's a black little border right there in the side of it. But I think overall this boxy look actually looks pretty cool. Now, when I installed the feet, it only takes one screw to put in place, so that was very easy to install. And then on the bottom, there's a little bit thicker border down here with the LG logo in the center. And down here in the center, there's a sensor right there for controls. And the interesting thing is that you can go into the system and turn the standby light off or on, as you can see there. Now we're going to take a look at the back of this television, and I can tell you that I'm a little bit disappointed with what LG did with this television over the last year's series. And at the end of this video, I'll show you guys the difference in the picture quality over the last year UP7000 as well. Well, the first thing, they do have the power cord right here, so it is detachable. It also has screw holes that you can mount the TV on the wall. Up here, there's a slot with ventilation, so it's going to allow the TV to not get so hot. Now, here's where the problems come in. You have a fiber optic and an Ethernet input. But take a look at this. One USB connection, two HDMIs, and an ATSC 2.0 tuner. And for me, that's a complete letdown because they should have at least three HDMIs. And give you an example of that, let's say you use the HDMI ARC to hook up a soundbar. That's going to take up one port. Then you plug in a gaming console, that takes up the second port. But what if you have another device like a Blu-ray player or something like that? You definitely have to get a selector box, so they could at least left three in there. But I guess it's not all bad because you do have two HDMI inputs. So in my case, I have a gaming console plugged into each one. And then you can take the fiber optic output and run that over to your soundbar. So without the selector, that kind of helps again. Plus, it does have built-in Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and there's an option to trade out the remote control, which I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later in the video. But let's take a look and see how good the picture performs. So you guys asked me to make videos where I show the TV and a lot of light and then show it in the darkness. So let me show you what we got going on today with this television. Well, first of all, if we go over here at the top, I have this light up here, and this actually is at 100% brightness. And then if we look over to the other side, I have this massive aperture light. And you can see right here, it's at 100% brightness as well to kind of give you guys an idea. All right, so let's go and click on a couple of these files and check it out. This is a file of a golden retriever, and I would tell you, it looks really good. I'm off access to it right now, so the glare wouldn't get on the camera, but you're talking about colors, this TV actually looks really good in the light. Look at this detail, the horses. You can see that it's really brown. You can see all the whiskers. Actually, right here, the contrast looks good. I can see just a little bit of, blooming right there, but that's expected. But overall, really good colors. And then here's another one with a parakeet. Look at the greens. They separate really well. You see the red around the eyes. Really good colors so far. So let's turn off the lights and do the same scenes. All right, so let's check it out. Put the same golden retriever on there. And you know what? This TV performs really good in the light as well as the dark. The details are still there. Let's go to the next one. There's the horses again. Here's another picture, and I do apologize. These are donkeys. And I will tell you that I can see all the details from the angle. It does have some glow, but this is an IPS panel, so I'm getting really good viewing angles, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And then let's go to that last clip. There's the parakeet again. Everything's rich in colors, details, the red around the eyes. So this TV looks really good, whether you're in the dark or if you're in the light. But what about glare? All right, so this is a test. We're gonna take a look at the glare. I'm just gonna use my cell phone light. And look at that, it's just a little tiny dot. It's not that bad, actually. I don't think this TV have any kind of anti-coating or anything like that, but it seems to be reflecting glare pretty good overall. So here's the thing, if you bought this television, glare, it's gonna still be there, but it's not gonna be so bad. And whether you watch it with a lot of light or just a little bit of light in the room, I think it's gonna do a really good job. And I'm very impressed with the colors on it. I mean, LG has really good color science, like a lot of vendors out there, but you know, even though it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that I would like to have, if it just comes down to streaming content, I think you're gonna be just fine. But let's go ahead and go a little bit deeper into some of the other tests like contrast, as well as some motion tests. I do believe this TV is about less than 500 nits, but to do this test, we're gonna set it at 1,000 nits. I have the camera 4.5 f-stop, and we're using dual ISO Sony with 12800 ISO. So this is the motion test where I was looking at that top line is pretty much the reference, but let's pull up the menu and do some adjustments, see how good the motion really is. So this TV is in cinema mode throughout this demo, and then I'm gonna go down here to advanced settings. We're gonna go ahead and click on clarity, and we're gonna go down here to true motion. Now right now it's set to cinematic. Let's go and turn it off. And the top line still doesn't look that bad. We go back over to the cinematic, smooths out just a little bit right there in the middle. We go to natural, and you can see that top line goes crazy. It's not doing any kind of justice. So maybe it depends on what you're doing. You might want to stay away from that. Smooth motion, you see everything smoothed up, except when it gets over here to the side. Don't really like how that's ending. And then you have user selection. And with that, we can de-judder it ourselves by going through the menu. So if you're looking at the motion side of it, what I'm getting out of it is cinematic movement. It's going to get you closest to the best thing in this television. So that's what I would probably set it up as. And you can check this on other LG televisions as well. Next, we're looking at the black dot test. And I'm telling you, for the angle, I can see a lot of the backlight bleeding through, but if I get into the center, it's pretty good overall. Let's go to the next slide that I like to use. Let's see here. This is like a uniformity test. And again, you can see, I don't know if you can see my hand here, over here, you can see that there's a lot of glow coming in through the screen, but to be honest with you, here in this darkness, it doesn't look too bad. And then the star field is gonna show literally the difference in the contrast. So you can see right there on top again, you're getting a little bit of DSE, dirty screen effect, but overall, again, for the money, it's not too bad. I can live with it. And this is showing the DSE on a white screen. You get a little bit of vignetting around the edges here, but again, I'm telling you guys, this TV doesn't look that bad. I've seen a lot worse on this channel. And here we have a test showing the grayscale, which is not too bad. And then we have this screen. This is showing the levels of contrast. Black's been the darkest, all the way up here to the white level. And we're looking at the grayscale. So let's pull up the menu again. First of all, let's go through some picture modes, see if that changes. So you can see all the different picture modes there. We're gonna go back down to cinema. So it doesn't really change that much when he goes through the picture mode. And this is pretty typical with most televisions, but overall, I think it looks really good. I can definitely tell that the separation in the gray levels is doing a really good job as well. Overall, for the money, as far as picture quality, I would tell you this TV actually looks really good. I just showed you guys some demos. We looked at the lights, and overall, I think you'll be satisfied with it if you're not looking for something very high-end like an OLED. Now, I put this demo up so I can show you guys the viewing angle, so let's check it out. All right, so let me show you guys the beauty of having an IPS panel right now in front of it. Watch as I move over to the side. Look at that. See how it's maintaining the colors? And this is ideal if you have a large room or if you put the TV above, like on a mount. And definitely like the fact that this IPS panel works really good. So as you can see, IPS is the king of viewing angles. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is the sound quality. This TV has 10 watts by 2, so it's okay for speakers, but I would tell you down here, there's downfiring speakers that has a port. So you're going to get a little extra bass response. So let's check it out. And as we listen to it, I'll go through some of the different EQs But keep in mind, this is a recording, so if you put headphones, you're going to get the best experience if it's something important to you. So as you can see, if you're in a situation where you don't like sound bars, you don't want to hook up to audio system, they actually sound pretty good for TV speakers. But what about gaming? Let's get into showing you guys some of the features that it can do with gaming. And I will tell you, this TV has the WebOS 22, so it does have the new gaming menu system built right in, which is really cool. So the first thing we're going to check on this television is the input lag. And if you don't know what input lag, back here I have an HDMI cable that goes over to this box, and when I put this on the TV, it has a light sensor that picks up how long it takes to get over to that sensor. So let's see what kind of input lag this TV has, and I would tell you anything under, let's say 40 milliseconds would be really good for television. So I've already put the TV in gaming mode right there, gaming optimizer. Let's go and check it out. So look at this, it's getting 10 milliseconds, and that's really good for a television. It's even dropping down a little bit more, 9.8. Pretty cool. So I got to play some gaming on this TV, and with the fast milliseconds, it did pretty good. I only played at 60 hertz, but I played Dirt 5 on the PS5, and then I put in another racing game on the Xbox. Everything looks good. Now, I will tell you that this TV, remember, has HDMI 2.0, so you're not going to get that HDMI 2.1, and quite frankly, at this point, that may or may not be overrated for a lot of people, just for the fact that there's not a lot of games in 4K 120 hertz. And with these processors, there's all kind of mixed reviews about if they can even handle it without overheating or having any issues. But 60 hertz, you're good to go. You'll definitely like this television. So now let's take a look at the operating system. This is WebOS 22. And just to be honest with you guys, it's a little bit laggy. When I was going through the menus, sometimes I hit it 2 or 3 times. If I opened up the application, it spun a little bit, depends on what I was opening. But let's talk about the positives now. It does have all the applications you will find in the higher end models LG. I mean, over here you got Stadia if you want to do gaming online. You got LG Fitness. It has all type of different content like Pilates and how to work out the proper way. You have a sports alert, and that's going to basically allow you to put in all your favorite teams, and then they're going to pop up in real time, as the games go on. But I will tell you that you need to log into the LG application to be able to get that to work. You have this new share feature, so if you have 2 LG TVs with WebOS 22, you can share the screen on both televisions. And I haven't had a chance to test that, but that looks pretty interesting. As well as you got, Apple HomeKit, you have Google built in. If you get a different remote control, let me give you an example. This is the remote control that comes with it. It's one of the old school ones, all the big buttons and everything, but you can get what they call a magic remote control. This is sold separately, about $50. I'll leave a link in the description below. But LG does give you the option to upgrade to this remote. if you just really don't like this remote itself. Another thing you have in here is, again, you have Alexa, you have a Google, so you can, connect it to your HomeKit and use it on those different devices. You just can't use the voice command without the upgraded remote. And then in here you have a connection guide. It has a really good TV tuner in it. I was able to get about 15 channels. And there's an app store and everything you need. So when it comes to operating system, works really good. It's just sometimes you might have to hit it multiple times to get it to work. Again, it's not a deal breaker because you can always get a streamer like a Apple TV or Roku or something like that if you guys are not happy with the operating system. As you can see, overall, they made some huge improvements over last year's model as far as the overall concept of the television. But now I'm going to compare it against last year's model. And just so you know, this is the UQ7590, and this was the UP7000 from last year. So first thing you can notice is that back cover, again, a lot smoother. And look at this design. They definitely improved the design on it quite a bit. I would tell you they have the exact same input. So two HDMI's 2.0. You have your USB input, your fiber optic, your network connection, and ATSC 2.0 tuner. And both TVs have Bluetooth, both TVs have Wi-Fi. But one thing they did keep the same is the remote control. Look at that, the exact same remote control. So again, if you want to use that magic remote control, you had to pay around $50 to get it. I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys can check it out. In case you're wondering how I do these tests, I'm going to be using this Array UHD 402. It's basically a switcher that allows you to have multiple inputs and send out to two separate monitors. And this allows me to play two signals from like a PlayStation or Xbox on two separate televisions. So before we get into like the picture test, let me show you the differences of the panels. So this is the new model. You can see it's a little bit taller. And if you go down here, you see that the feet are different as well. Now this one's a little bit scratched up because it's been in storage, but you can see they went from this like polished looking over to more of a gray look. Also the logo at the bottom is a little bit different. You see right there. And this is what they look like from the back again. You can see you have this hump on it where the new model has that smooth finish to it. I really like the improvements on the design. And a few more things I want to show you before we get into the picture test. Another thing I want to show you is that the software version, the new model has 3.11.10, and this one has 3.20.10. So it seems like this one has newer software, but it doesn't have all the same features, which is pretty interesting. You would think this would have some of the other setups. So let me show you an example of that. One of the biggest difference is that the new model has the new gaming, interface, and the older model, you can put it into Game Optimizer, but it doesn't have an interface to show you the differences. Not a big deal, but I think gamers like to have this so they can, get through all their settings a lot quicker than the last year model. The new model has features like you can do TV share. Also, it uses WebOS 2.2, and this one used WebOS 6.0. This one you have to log into the interface to download applications and set up some of these other features. Where the last year model you didn't on the software unless they changed it. So that's just some of the major differences. I mean, there's not a lot, but let's do a picture test and let's see how well it compares. And what I'm going to do is put both TVs in cinema mode, so that gives you the best contrast and the best picture quality, so we can see how well they fare against each other. So I think it's obvious that there's a clear winner between these two televisions. The new model is so much better. The contrast is better. You also have that better design. You have also the gaming options that you don't have on the last year model. Also, when I was doing the demo, I could see a lot more light bleed in this television. Also, it had a little bit more dirty screen effect. So if I was to buy a television, I definitely would consider the new model. And if you guys are interested, I'll leave the links for both televisions in the description below. Now you're probably wondering which TV is IPS and which one is VA. Both of these are IPS panels, but I will tell you a lot of information is not available at the time of this video. So as I get new information, I'll update the description so you guys can see which panel is which. Now, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is that I have a new channel that I started, and it's called TechSteve Tutorials. And on that channel, I'm going to show you all the menus and unboxings and all that stuff on these TVs. And I do have them set up as playlists. So as I get time, I'll start feeding that channel more. So if you haven't already, head over to that channel, go ahead and subscribe. Of course, all the links are in the description below. I'm TechSteve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!